Yo, what is good, High TF Mob? It is your boy Booba back with another chart breakdown. Today I just kind of wanted to give you guys end of the week kind of update. Seeing as like I'm probably gonna close out on some trades for the rest of the week for today. I did want to do this video tomorrow on a Friday, but I don't think I'm gonna have that type of time. Seeing as I'm gonna be working a double shift tomorrow. But I figured I might as well do this since I already closed out the trades of the week. And and as you can see here, everything that you're seeing is pretty much the trades and positions that I was either looking for or that I ended up taking or ended up missing, but also still played out. So I'm just going to kind of go back to where we left off when the market started, which was back here. All right. And I remember that morning I was saying there's a buy happening and we could either see that sell pop off here or there, depending on how that 4 hour closed. And seeing as the 4 hour did close bearish on that next candle, we saw price trail down from there. So that's just a prime example of kind of how, again, we're using the puzzle to make it make sense to run with the bigger candles, because when it was coming back up, this was just wicking against a very strong momentum sell candle on the daily. So that was why our 4 hour was kind of the trigger entry there for this position. This position I actually ended up missing, but I did end up catching AJ, UJ, and GJ down. But then I also missed profits because I closed out early, but then later found reentries that led to me profiting this week. So again, it's never, it's never going to be perfect when it comes to trading. It just comes down to trusting what you know so that when you pull the trigger, you kind of just let things flow and play out. So here, this was a great 3 to 6 setup. You could have closed out a little earlier. And this week, something I'm going to give you guys a tip that's honestly probably going to help me moving forward when it comes to trading, that you guys could also apply to the strategy. So we'll get to it later, but for now, I'm just going to kind of break down what played out. So then price tried to come up to retest, created a new lower high right here, and then continue lower. And this is where I was looking for another potential position. But then price did spike. And when prices spike happen here, I'm going to kind of go over what happened on all the other frames because the spikes kind of affected every other pair. So when that spike happened, this spike also happened up. And was just trying to stop people out of the position that were holding these sells here, just kind of trying to scare people. There was a spike that also happened here on AJ that led to me having to actually exit this position that I had. So this is a prime example of I could have secured profits prior to price coming back up and then could have actually grabbed another entry here, just knowing that it was only a pullback. And in that moment, it looked very bullish and it did look like it was going to completely reverse. And that was why I ended up exiting, but I didn't take a loss, which as you can see, when price, like I said, breaks my previous low, I then move my stops into break even so that price can trail down. So this is where, for me, the tip I wanted to give you guys was that if you do trade this strategy throughout the week, what you should do is trail your stops on the 15-minute pair. And every candle that went up against the trend just before the drop to continue it is where you want to move your stops to. So when price went up here and then dropped, you can move your stops here. Price moved up and then dropped, you can move your stops here. And you'll just notice that price has a sense of respecting that to continue the trail down. So even if you moved it here and just gave a little bit of room, it would have came back but never touched it. And then that would have told you that the 4 hour wants to continue. It's just a bear flag. So then you have this as your new last upper candle. You can move your stops closer or tighter. Then it happened again here and then continued. And you would have had your stops down here before price took you out for those reentries later. And in that moment, I did know that it was supposed to buy back up because the daily looks so oversold. So now this was that position here happening. And this was us catching that tail end to continue the structure down. So as you can see, again, my TP lines are being hit every week because, again, I have a neutral bias. I don't care which way the market goes. Honestly, as long as I can dissect the bigger candle on the lower frame so that I can find a position. That's the whole goal of trading. At that point, you apply the math, apply the risk to the reward, make sure it's scaled to your account, and you really shouldn't be losing very frequently, because again, you're only trading with the flow of what you're seeing happening. So when price even shot back up, I did see this as a bear flag, and I was like, okay, this would be the new entry for me if price breaks out this trend line to then continue down to wipe out our swing low. So again, remember, our swing low previously was back here because this was what caused this high to get wiped out, which created this new swing high. And now this swing high actually led to this entire swing low breaking, which then made this swing low. And now this is the new swing high from the retracement of the swing low that was created before the new break on the way down. So if we're going to update this, we'll go down our swing low, and we'll move this down to our swing high here. So this is all relevant now, and this is why we have that buy opportunity. So right before we may get another sell down. So you just got to give it time and see what's up. So as far as UJ, the same deal happened. I was actually in the original sells that happened here at the beginning of the week. I was in there, and then price came back, and I thought at this point price was going to come and stop me out. So I actually got out early because around this time it was like 4 o'clock, which was the open of the Asia session. So I didn't want to have the spreads just take me out only because it got close and didn't actually get to it. And I was like, let me just take the money I have on the table. So then price actually ended up continuing to trail down, and then kind of kept throwing these consolidation, basically through a range for a little bit. And then the price spiked up against it. And this spike I knew was either going to do one of two things, was going to lead to the higher frame continuing higher and breaking all these highs, or respecting this previous high here. And again, this is a prime example of why that 15-minute method would work, because you would be looking at this level as that last high for the next low. You have your stops here, so on and so forth. You keep doing that, and then you get stopped out, price would come back up, and then it respected again at that previous peak. And then you had this bearish movement down, which also played into, again, your daily candle respecting the structure of being overbought. So this would have been your entry at the top over here, going down to that 4 hour, and just using that 4 hour bearish engulfing signal to figure out that this was going to be a consolidation zone on your 1 hour and your 15-minute, which ended up happening here. And then it respected by creating a low, a high up here, and then that lower high here, and actually higher low, and then lower high here. And then that caused the whole break of this previous low. So this entry I did catch, and I actually exited around here because that was where I got stopped out around, going down to the 15-minute. I woke up at about like 2 o'clock this morning for London. And then I put my stops just above, I believe it was like around this candle. Because I know it was just before the next push down. But yeah, I ended up exiting. And the thing is, like, for me, I'm content with that because I'm not trying to be too over greedy when trading. There's opportunities every single week, as long as you know how to dissect the market to see them every week. And that's all that matters. That way, when things are playing off the line, you're just really just reacting all week. And then just don't let the fake outs bother you emotionally. Like, you just have to understand why they're happening. And again, put the puzzle piece together. So GJ had a great setup as well. That played out like almost flawlessly. And honestly, if you know anything about structures, this is where you would have seen your head and shoulders pattern. This would have been right about here. Boom, boom. And hold on. Boom, boom, and boom. So this could be the low. This could be the low. And again, this is why we have TP1 through 3 for our structure. So this is the next wick. Well, we got close to grabbing all the liquidity pools here. This could also be the reversal zone, but I doubt that happening because, again, looking at the high frame, the monthly just doesn't look set up right. And we'll have to see the weekly candle start setting up buy candles. So we're probably going to get another push down at some point later, and this will just be another retracement. And then once we see break of structure, maybe here on the daily, like so, if we see some breaker structure, then maybe we can assume that that weekly candle will start rising to then give us some bullish engulfing and then get out of here. So that's definitely not going to happen that sudden, but that would be the types of motion that I'm looking for a buy week. Even now, you can kind of scalp a buy going down to the hourly, and this would be a great position right here if you wanted to scalp. So this would be a solid spot. You put your stop right here. And you take it up to. So you could do a 2-to-1. 2-to-1 trades are solid. Again, that's like a good scalp move. It's nothing I'm really antsy about, but it is valid as far as the setup, because again, you have the 4-hour playing into it. Is 8 o'clock. It's the open of a new candle, and the first hour candle is going to try to go against the previous hour candle. And if it respects the low of it, we can say it is safe to keep buying up. And honestly, at that point, you could even use the 5-minute to get a more detailed entry, because you kind of have the higher time frame confluence with this. So our true low in this moment would be like right here, which would then make this whole setup like a 6 to 3. Or you could do a 6-to-1 if you want to give it just a little bit more room, even a 5-to-1, whatever the case. But I would give it about 2 hours just to see how the 1-hour candle wants, the next 2 1-hour candles want to test, because you'll have one print and then the second one will print, and then that second one will probably signal more of a buy. Because then that 4-hour candle is going to try to finish printing itself out by the end of the next 2 hours. So it sounds crazy, sounds like rocket science, but that's just stuff that comes with experience. It comes with understanding these markets and the market movement. So that is all I wanted to show you guys. And this is just kind of proof. You may not believe that I took all those setups, but off of my controller account, it should be, see if I have the positions closed. No, here we go, transaction history. So yeah, so AJ closed 481. AU closed 186 because it didn't really sell off too much before I closed. UJ closed off 603. GJ closed out 539. And the values on my actual test were a little bit lower. And this is the test I'm taking for the 25K. I hate when that happens, because then I'm trying to show you guys and then I can't share my screen. So let's actually do this. So you guys can't see my screen there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put the password and login in, use your login. I hope that you guys can see that. I just want to show you guys this terminal to show you that, yes, I am testing right now for money. So the way this program works is it's Osprey FX. This is a different funding firm. And when you do pass, they do pay you weekly rather than monthly, which is why I'm actually still testing for these guys. And right now, as you can see, the goal is for me to gain 2,500 for my profit target. And I'm up 1,073. So I'm probably need about another $1,500 move next week, but that'll just come with patience, and I'm not rushing anything. And this is the max drawdown I have, and this is the max overall that I can lose on the account. And then these are the days left I have to have a minimum trade requirement hit, which means out of 30 days of me taking this test from start to finish, I'm supposed to at least trade 10 days. So right now you can see these are the profits that I added on from the setups that I showed you guys. And that's honestly the power to trading, is that at some point you don't really want to be trading your own money. Using firms and things like that can easily help. So that would, alleviate you having to use your hard-earned money to then invest in these markets. But ultimately, I do hope you guys got a good set of information out of that. Hope you guys also got to see how things play out, and that, yes, this does work. This information is not a lie. It does take real work and practice to start seeing the results play out over and over. But when it does, it's well worth it. So I hope you guys do have a great night. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please, again, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Definitely feel free to share if you feel like this information was valuable and somebody else can take away from it. And don't be afraid to give me feedback. I could care less about the hate comments. I'm all focused on the bag and just trying to uplift the High TF mob and show support and show some love. So I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you.